Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hey all, old Captain here, and we have a kind of interesting request from Grant. Grant writes, "Hey Cappy, so here's my original or asshole consulting thought. Could you do a video on your recommendations for routing a cross-country road trip, particularly starting or ending from the West Coast? Because that's where I'd be starting from. Thinking about particular small towns or cities, landmarks, natural wonders, to feature, etc. for a right-wing single guy who doesn't give a crap about energy vortices of the world's biggest ball of twine." I've actually driven through that Litchfield, Minnesota. I didn't stop and see. I'm like, oh shit, we don't have time. Had I known, I would have taken the 5 minutes to go see the largest. If, of course, this is something you have to be knowledgeable about. Also, might you know about train travel as an alternative to the same ends of the pros and cons of such an alternative? Fuck train travel. No, do not do it. Do not. You're going to be tired. It's costly. Just do a road trip. Just do it that way. Sleep in your car. That's the cheapest way to do it. Otherwise, if you don't mind spending an extra couple bucks, you could always fly out to a central place like Vegas and hit 5 or 6 different things in that area, then fly to another place. But truthfully, I would just get a rental car. Rental car companies underestimate young men who can drive long distances. And I've had it where I'm like, dude, I need an oil change. You guys like, what do you mean you need an oil change? Like, I need an oil change. And I'm like, how many miles you put on it? You said unlimited, and that's what I'm aiming for. So I would rent one, make sure it's unlimited, and I would not take the train. Anyway, so let's, I'm going to go to the map here. I wanted to film this, but I've just been having a fucking hell of a time. Somebody recommended Ice Cream Recorder, and then it saves in not Windows Media format, and I was just, and then you had to download a converter, and the converter, it's just these fucking nerds don't think about user and usability. Anyway, so you're starting in California, and I hate California, and I remember the only thing I really liked about California was Yosemite National Park, so I'd go and I'd hit that first. From there, you might as well hit the Humboldt-Tyobe National Forest, which is in Nevada, but you could also go up and continue on through to Lake Tahoe, and then cut over. Excuse me. And but so yeah, you have that. I'm not familiar with Oregon and Washington. I've been through those areas, and yes, they're absolutely beautiful. And yes, you could go up there. And it's not to say that there aren't beautiful places to see. I just haven't been there, so I can't testify to it. Now, you'll be in northern Nevada. And what I would recommend you do is go into Salt Lake City and hike Hallett's Peak. Or not Hallett's Peak. What do they call it? Oh, I gotta zoom in on it. It's free. It's to the west of Thule. Deseret Peak. It's a pretty easy hike, and the reason I recommend that is you can see a ton of everything. To your south, there's mountains. To your east, there's Salt Lake City. You can see it. To the north, there's the Great Salt Lake, and to the west, there's the Bonneville Salt Flats. The Bonneville Salt Flats, you kind of drive through. It's salty, it's flat, but otherwise, it's kind of, you'll say you saw it, so you were there. But otherwise, Deseret Peak is definitely a place to check out. Salt Lake City, you can hang out there. Maybe rest up a little bit. I would check out the Connecticut Mine, which is to the south. It's not spelled Connecticut like the state. It's spelled with a K, and it is the largest man-made pit in the world because it is it's a copper mine. So it's pretty cool there. So let me zoom out. All right, from Salt Lake City, what I would do is I would drive up north along Highway 15. Where is it? And make your way, what road? Make your way to Missoula, Montana. And what you'll find there is you'll go through this mountain range. It'll take a little bit to get there. You'll go through towns like Darby, Salmon, Hamilton, and all that. And it's following this river that comes off of the east side of this mountain range. And I would, if you have the time, climb Trapper's Peak. It's outside of Darby, Montana. Make your way to Missoula. If you want, you could keep going north into Glacier National Park. I was not that impressed with Glacier National Park. It's beautiful. It's certainly, more dramatic than, say, the Black Hills. But once you've done Trapper Peak, you'll have hiked a really cool mountain and see some really beautiful stuff. So Glacier, I'd say 50-50. But you'd head straight from Missoula up north into Kalispell and Whitefish, maybe putz around Glacier, then come right back down to Missoula. Now, you will be on Highway 90. You'll take Highway 90 and you will go to a town called Red Lodge, Montana. So you're going to head a little bit to the east. And then from Red Lodge, you're going to go and continue heading south on, what is the road? It's Chief Joseph's Highway. Oh, 212. Highway, is that 2? No, that's not it. Yeah, it is. Highway 212. Look at that. All right, so Highway 212. You'll go through Beartooth Pass. And then I would recommend driving all the way to this little town called Silver something. Where'd it go? Lamar Valley. Just bear with me. Oh, there it is. Hang on. There's Red Lodge. Pilot Peak. Yeah, you want to go to Silver City. Maybe consider climbing Pilot Peak. That's an interesting thing. So that whole stretch there, Highway 212. Then you'll hook up to 296, and that is Chief Joseph's Highway. And it's beautiful, just a beautiful ride. Now, you'll empty out into a town called Cody, and that is the eastern town that serves Yellowstone National Park. I was completely unimpressed with Yellowstone National Park. It's mountainous. It's got a lot of, there's Old Faithful. But the mountains are not as dramatic. There's a pretty cool canyon in there that maybe you want to check out. But you will have seen more mountains in Glacier National and that range where Trapper Peak is in than you would Yellowstone. So the problem is you got to drive so far into Yellowstone to start seeing crap. And I just think it's overrated. I really think it's an overrated national park. A lot of people think, why not do you go? So, yeah. So then, from Cody. And, you can always stop in at the Yellowstone National Park. From there, what would I do next? I would actually then... What I would do, if you had the time, I would head back north, get back onto Highway 90, take that through to Billings, and... it'll split. 90 will go south, 94 will continue to the east and north. Take 94 and go to Theodore Roosevelt National Park over at Medora, North Dakota. And what you're going to find, it's pretty interesting stuff. It's worth checking out. You'll also see some really interesting land formations between the mountains and Medora, North Dakota. From that point on, here's where a decision you have to make. You have now come into the Badlands territory, and anything east of that is going to be plains and boring as shit. And it is my truthful opinion that from the Missouri-Mississippi River west, that's all the cool shit that the country has. From to the east, it's not to say that the Smokies aren't pretty or anything, but you're not going to see a lot of beauty. You're going to see farm fields, you might see some rolling hills, and if you're going to go east, then that would be where you start visiting towns. Like if you always wanted to go to Chicago, go to Chicago. If you want to see New York, Lord knows fucking why, you'd fly to New York. If you want to see Atlanta, go to Atlanta. Say hi to Wes and Jay down there for me. But there really isn't much in those plain states. And so if you're looking for hiking, adventuring, and all that, it's all west. If you want to visit a town, what I would recommend is save your money, save your time, and fly to these towns individually on your own. Visit them on your own. Because it's not worth the time to drive between Chicago and New York. And it just, I don't know, I'm not a city guy. It just doesn't really excite me. So what I'm going to recommend you do, not go any further east than that. Because there's nothing to see. What I will recommend you do then is drop down, is it 85? Let me take a look. It'd be awesome if I remember. Yeah, 85. Drop down 85 and go to the Black Hills. This is my favorite place in the entire world. I would personally spend 2 whole weeks in the Black Hills to do a good job of it. Maybe even make it a separate trip. But you're going to have the Black Hills, which entails Harney's Peak, Spearfish Canyon, the Needles, Cathedral Spires, and of course Mount Rushmore. Then you have the Badlands National Park, which will make the North Dakota Badlands Teddy Roosevelt National Park look like absolute shit, and that is amazing as well. So when you're so go do that, do the Badlands a day or two out there, do some hiking, and then one thing that is not a huge, well, two things that I personally like about the Black Hills that is not a huge tourist trap. Do Cascade Falls and do the Hippie Hole in the Black Hills. Those are two swimming holes that you can go to. You might have to drive a little bit for the Cascade Falls. It's south of Hot Springs, but I would definitely check that out. From there, what would I do? If you have the time, I would then drive back to the west to Buffalo, Buffalo, Wyoming, and do some hiking in the southern Bighorn Mountains. It's not part of the mountain range that's in Yellowstone. You'll be driving back that direction, but it's only about an hour and a half, 2 hours back to Buffalo, so I'd drive there. Stop at the Occidental Hotel, say hi to Cowboy Dave, and I would do some hiking. I would do Seven Brothers Lakes. If you are not affected by altitude sickness, which I am, I would try and do Cloud Peak. Hike, if you can't do that, hike to Misty Moon Lake and then cut over, what's the name of that freaking trail? You'll see it, Misty Moon Lake, there's two trails. One comes in from the south, one comes in from the west. And then you can continue going east all the way to the trailheads that are closer to Buffalo. So have someone drop off a car there or pick you up at some designated point in time. Start hiking over on the west side of Misty Moon Lake. Hike over and you go through this massive canyon. Just beautiful scenery over there. I would also drive the 10 Sleep Canyon if you could. It's only going to be an hour and a half drive over Highway 16. So putz around, fuck around in the southern Bighorn Mountains there as well. Say hi to all the meth heads. And and then go swimming in the pool. If you want a small little quaint thing to do, Buffalo, Wyoming has a great pool, Olympic-sized pool with a diving board. It's free. Absolutely jump in that shit. From either the Black Hills, if that's where you live, or Bighorn National Park, or Bighorn National Forest, I would drop south and inevitably make your way to Denver. Go to Denver. And there, of course, you have Rocky Mountain National Park. So I would do a little bit of time hiking that. I did Hallett's Peak. That's not... You should be able to do it. I didn't have any trouble with the altitude sickness until very later on in the hike. But I was still able to do that. And from there, I'm not going to have you go to New Mexico. There are a handful of things but New Mexico is a shithole. Old Mexico is better than New Mexico. So what I would recommend, from Denver, drive south and make your way to Cortez, Colorado. Cortez, Colorado has Mesa Verde National Park in there. If you want to dick around and waste your time and pay 25 unnecessary bucks so you have the right to drive another 20 miles into the park because they didn't put the entry to close enough to the huts, the Mesa Verde National Park is known for those old adobe dwellings with the cliff overhang. Except what they don't tell you is that on the other side of Cortez, like 2 miles away, 3 miles away, is a hike called Valley of the Ancients. And it's a 12-mile round-trip hike, or, 12 miles round-trip, 6 one way. Park a car, do that thing. Hike that instead, because it's free, and you have way more cave dwellings than Mesa Verde. Mesa Verde is pretty big, but it's not worth the 25 bucks, and it's not worth... You have to wait to be guided to the thing, because these fucking baby boomer Nazis decide to start passing laws that you can't go unguided. Of course, I did anyway when I was there. That's another general tip I'll give you. Any national park where they're telling you all these rules, like you have to bury your shit 6 inches in the ground, you have to pee far away, bullshit. Just go and do it. You have to camp here. These ancient old fart 60-year-old park rangers aren't going to find you in the middle of frickin' nowhere. The irony is that the park system is on a seniority system, so the really cool parks have really old rangers, and they're really not effective at enforcing law because they don't hike 20 miles into the frickin' thing. So the younger people might be able to do something about it, these old people. So I just camp where you want, shit where you want. Follow the rules of the Bears. If the Bears can do it, so can I. So that's Cortez. Then I would head north into Grand Junction, Colorado, or, well, Grand Junction, you know what? No, you're in Cortez. A more direct route, I would drive up to Moab. Grand Junction is a nice town, but there's nothing really there you have to do. I would then drive to Moab and intend to spend at least a week in Moab. Do Arches National Park. Just do it in an afternoon. Drive through and say, okay, here it is. Here's Arches National Park. Look, it's cute. It's Arches. Bunch of slow fucking Asian people driving around. No, that's not racist. It's true because it is. And we're not talking Asian immigrants. We're talking the fuckers from actually Asia. And they come here and they drive really fucking slow. All right? So be prepared to deal with that. Then I would spend the majority of your times in Canyonlands National Park, especially the northern unit. There's 3 units, north, southwest, and the southeast. Absolutely do the northern unit. Do the ride down. I would even recommend you buy a 4-wheel vehicle, which is what I'm intending on doing. And I would drive it down. I want to find the name of the road. It is a death ride. Schaefer Canyon Road. Look that up. I would recommend driving that with a 4-wheel vehicle and then doing the whole loop. You'll see there's a loop that goes around. Basically, the northern unit of Canyonlands National Park is a big peninsula of land surrounded by canyons and cliffs. And the Colorado River comes here and the Green River comes here. And you drive down on this dirt road. You need a 4-wheel high-clearance vehicle or 4-wheel drive high-clearance vehicle. And then you can drive around it. It's too long to hike. You can bike it, but it's too long to hike in a day. So I would definitely get a 4-wheel vehicle and do that whole trip. Oh, someone got killed in WBL. So that's Canyonlands. From there, what I would do is I would head back down south, Highway 191. This is the road trip I did with my crotch rocket. And I would go through, I gotta find it here, Monument Valley. So take 191, go to 163. You'll go past this cute little thing called Mexican Hat. It's interesting. And you want to go through 163 on your way to Kayenta because that is where those Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote cliff formations are. It is amazing. It's worth checking out. So I do that. After that, let's back up a little bit here. I would then, what would I do? There's not a lot of places to stay, and you'll be Kayenta and Tuba City. That's all part of the Navajo Indian Reservation, and there are hotels. But you know what? I won't lie to you. I don't want you're hit up for money. I was in Tuba City getting gas. Not a huge. People are hitting me up for money. I don't even. I'll be honest. I don't know if it's as safe as it should be. You're the white man in there, so consider that. I would probably drive down to Flagstaff. And get a hotel there. But if you are okay staying in Kayenta or Tuba City, that'll allow you to take the shortcut on Highway 64 to Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon and I have a very sordid, difficult relationship. I have never been able to hike it. I've been there 3 times and never been able to hike it because of weather. First time, weak people and weather. The first time I brought a girl with and she wasn't able to keep up, and it's monstrous. You need to be in good shape to do it, so to get down to the river and back. So we couldn't do that. The second time I came too early in the season, and we're on the south side, the south rim, and because the sun is on the southern side, that means it was shadowed over, and you had not snow, but snow that had been compacted and melted into ice that during the daytime water would melt, go over the ice, and it was incredibly treacherous. And then the third time it was fogged over. So before you go to the Grand Canyon, I'd say stop in Flagstaff, look up the weather, and don't go any earlier than mid-June. Maybe go in fall, that might be something. And keep in mind, you're going to be in hot areas, so late summer, early fall, even mid-fall might be an ideal time to do that. So then you'll do the Grand Canyon. Unfortunately, the Grand Canyon, the access points are just out in the middle of frickin' nowhere. It's not convenient on the way to anything. So you'd have to go up and then back down, or in and then back out, or down and then back up, depending on where you want to go. So you'll be in Flagstaff on the way back. And from here, it depends. Do you want to do Arizona? There's Prescott. Sedona's nice to... not Prescott. Sedona's nice driving through. Jerome is a nice town to stop in. You can hit both of those on your way down to Phoenix. Phoenix is a town. You can hike Camelback Peak. There's some nice hikes in there. Say hi to all my friends down there. But what I would do is, if you're going to go south in Arizona, I would go to Tucson, and I would hike Sabino Canyon. That's a quick, great in and out, beautiful hike. I would continue going a little bit south. Hit Tombstone on your way. That's overrated, but you can say you've been there. But then be on your way to Bisbee. Bisbee's kind of an interesting little town. Then I would cut over. Back the way you came. And, yeah, there's not much. Just head your ass back to Phoenix. Go, outside of Kingman, there's a town called Oatman. I know it sounds stupid, but it's worth the 30-minute detour, hour round trip. Go to Oatman, Arizona, and feed the burros. There's this town where there's these little burros that are the great-grandchildren of burros that were released into the wild when the mines ran out back in the 1880s or whatever the hell it was. So the burros fornicated, begetting new burros, and Epic begat so-and-so, and Epic begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Abraham, and then somebody tried to kill the other one, and it gets all a little fuzzy. No, oh, God says, no, stop, don't kill him. Why? Oh, it's just a test, just fucking with you. And then these little burros are here, and they're completely dependent on the town and tourists because they all feed them. So the burros come to town. They're very friendly. They'll bite your finger off if you're not careful because they know you have food. So maybe go do that. But invariably, you will want to make your way from Bisbee or Tucson to Las Vegas. Las Vegas, there's hiking around. There's Red Rock Canyon. You'll see the Hoover Dam. There's some hiking around the Hoover Dam. And if it's not too hot, I would recommend getting a boat and driving that along Lake Mead and go through at least one of the canyons so you can see it's the Eastern Canyon. You want to get through that to the other side of Lake Mead, and I would check that out. Oh, Jesus. I forgot one whole thing here. Yeah, but you're still going to have to go around no, actually, I didn't forget one thing. I thought it would be, like, not as efficient, but it's just as efficient. So, you'll be in Vegas. What I would do then is I would drive your ass out to St. George, Utah. It's going to look like you're going the wrong way. You're not. Go to St. George, Utah. Crash there for at least 2 days. You're going to do 2 hikes in Zion National Park. One is going to be Angel's Landing. The other one is going to be the Narrows. Okay, there's a lot more to do out there. Certainly spend more time, but those are the 2 you absolutely must do. Angel's Landing and the Narrows. Angel's Landing is this beautiful hike up a very dangerous cliff. And then the Narrows is where you're hiking up, and you've probably seen those pictures where it's like canyon straight down and a river runs through it, and you hike up the river. So, just bring water protective gear or water-proof gear. So then you'll be in St. George to do that, and what I would do is just head right back on Highway 15, and I think that takes you all the way back to Los Angeles. I'd skip Death Valley. It's nothing really exciting. Let me kind of zoom out, make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would do and have done in the West and can testify to. And so, but like I said, that's what I would do. I would just spend more time in the West than driving all the way fucking out to Maine. There's nothing on the East. There's towns. There are towns. And history. Ooh, look. Here's the battle where a Civil War thing happened. Oh my goodness, look at that. And it's just my opinion. But if you're the type that likes towns, like I said, fly there. I like Dallas. I like Miami. I like St. Petersburg. I like Tampa. Atlanta was pretty cool. I like Raleigh, Durham. But yeah, man, I've never said, whoa, I can't wait to get to Arkansas again, or holy shit, I can't wait to get to Delaware. Man, remember those good times we had in Delaware? You never heard that because no one's ever said it. So yeah, that's what I do. And then make your merry way on Highway 15 back to Los Angeles. And then say, why the fuck do I live in this shithole state? That's what I would do. Anyway, so hope that gives you kind of an idea what the old captain would do. There's certainly some other things, but that's kind of more or less a circular route around the West that I would do. Best of luck to you. Toodles.